talking to anyone effortlessly is 100% possible. Coming from someone who literally couldn't talk to a cashier without stuttering or without being anxious, without overthinking. Like, my direct experience used to be super anxious standing in line. I used to have the heart beating, heart racing, the stomach would be tight, the throat wouldn't want to work, I'd be sweating, and then I'd go to the cashier and try and interact with him. But then I'd be subtly scared of opening my mouth or saying something. Are they going to judge me? I'm going to be weird. I can't say that. I can't say this. And then I'd come away feeling anxious and scared. And then maybe if I did say something, I'd ruminate on it. I would go back and say, hey, remember when you did that one thing? He fucking hates you. He doesn't like you. He thinks you're weird. You're weird. Don't ever do that again. You're a loser. And then I'd basically just jump to conclusions that have no grounding in reality. I would expect myself to speak perfectly and say the perfect thing in every situation. I'd overthink what to say, and I wouldn't just be able to have a conversation. Again, talking to people was not effortless. There was so much internal resistance to saying what I wanted to say, being able to express myself, and there'd just be loops running that just would get in the way. But now, as a result of working on myself and understanding this at its like molecular fundamental level, I can now approach anyone I want to talk to. I want to go talk to that person. Attractive woman, I can go have a conversation. I can go look you, and there's no internal resistance to doing that. I can go talk to anyone effortlessly. If I want to say something in a conversation spontaneously, there's not that underlying loop of, are they going to think I'm weird? Are they judging me? I'm judging myself. They're going to think I'm weird. All of this internal stuff just doesn't happen anymore. And I can just express myself how I want to. So if that sounds like something you're interested in and you want to be able to do, listen up. Because again, as I explained in detail, I know what you're going through and I know how to get to the other side of it. So do trust me and fucking watch the video. I now want to make a claim that social confidence, charisma, and being able to be socially free is inherent to all human beings, but we have been brought up in a manner through life in a way that basically inhibits us and creates like internal resistance and internal blocks and like barriers that prevent our like confident self from actually just manifesting easily as a byproduct. And that with work, we can undo these blocks and barriers. With focus and work, we can actually undo these barriers. So now, I want you to not blindly agree or disagree with what I'm saying, but to actually hear me out and hear what I have to say. And then, at the end, make a conclusion based on what you think. So now, first of all, what are these internal barriers or blocks that stop us? Well, these are belief systems, beliefs about the world, ourselves, and trauma that is unhealed and still unconsciously rules us. I want to introduce something to you. There's the conscious and the subconscious mind. The conscious is everything that you're directly aware of right now. It's this video that you're watching and the surface level thoughts you have. The subconscious is your memories, your experiences, and the programs that unconsciously rule you. To visualize this, think of, you know that iceberg meme where like 10% of the iceberg is visible above the water and then like the huge ass iceberg is visible, or not visible because it's below the water. The iceberg above the water is your conscious mind. Below the water, what's largely there, what largely makes us up, is the subconscious. And that's these internal blocks and resistances are outside of our conscious attention, and that we have to delve into our subconscious. It's inherently out of our direct attention because it's subconscious, and we have to find out and root out what's going on down below. Now, keeping that concept in mind, let's give you a story and a concept to understand your psyche a bit better. So I want you to imagine you're a 10-year-old in the classroom and you want to make a joke and make everyone laugh. You say the joke, no one laughs, everyone laughs at you, and the teacher tells you to shut up. Imagine that situation. How do you feel? What happens? What happens internally? A lot of bad stuff. And I want you to understand that we are extremely adaptable and that life more or less happens to us when we're younger. We basically form our personality around like survival and adapting and fitting in. Think of like our evolutionary purpose. When we're 10 years old, we don't have much of a fucking brain, to be honest. We don't have the ability to hold multiple perspectives or to reason ourselves out of stuff. It's just stuff's happening. And if like a threat happens, we mold our personality around that and adapt. Keeping that in mind, in that 10-year-old's brain, what do you think happens? My tribe is rejecting me. Going back thousands of years, if our tribe rejects you, what happens? Death. We're still acting by the same psychology and biology right now. So as a 10-year-old, we fear that everyone's going to reject you. Okay, fuck, everyone's going to reject me. I'm going to be kicked out, I'm going to die. In your 10-year-old brain, that's what's happening. You're fearing death. You don't want to be rejected by your tribe. An authority figure is telling you off and not to be that way. So, you adapt, you learn. Let's not behave that way. You grab the part of yourself that caused the almost death in your perspective and you basically split your psyche. You have the acceptable part of yourself, the good, the socially acceptable, the part that's going to keep me alive. Good part. Bad part. The repressed, disowned parts of ourselves that cause us to fear for our lives. We disown these parts of ourselves because we have learned that it is unsafe to fully be these personalities. And these parts of ourselves, we can't fully be them. So we learn to push it down and basically predict that the next time that social situation arises, you want to say the joke in the same way that you last time did it. Your brain predicts. It uses that part of yourself that it disowned to say, remember last time that happened? Don't fucking do that again. And then that manifests as anxiety, thoughts of don't do that, I'll look like a fucking idiot. And all of that arises because of that disowned part of yourself. This more or less could be called trauma as well, because that's going to cause a whole lot of shame, and as a 10-year-old, you're not going to be able to process that. Trauma isn't just like super bad events like abuse and war and other stuff like that. It can be as simple as being told no or being told to shut up when you're younger. Because we can't, in our younger selves' mind, we can't really connect the dots that these things mean certain things. We just like think that I can't be that way, I'm going to be rejected, I'm not going to fit into my tribe. Because we're dumb 10-year-olds. We're dumb children. Now, I want you to extrapolate this out throughout your entire childhood. How many times has it happened where you have learned that this part of yourself, it's unacceptable? Push it down. Behave like this and you're going to be rejected. It's bad to behave like this. You've been directly told, don't act like this. Don't speak out. You've been directly told. You've had experiences where, like that 10-year-old's speaking out and being embarrassed. That has happened many times. And I make the argument that everyone has fractures or splits in their psyches. That everyone has a part of themselves or parts that they disown, they don't like, they reject, and they vehemently, strongly just reject. And that this, I think, stems to causes a society where we inherently feel like we're not enough. I can basically guarantee, because this was me, and that most people don't feel enough as they are. They don't feel whole. They inherently seek external things to fill the hole that they have inside of themselves. And why is there a hole inside? Why do we inherently feel like we're not enough? It's because of this. We have learned to disown parts of ourselves. And when we bring up, accept this, then there's no reason to seek externally. So much of what happens nowadays, like hustle culture, like everything, it's just like a manifestation of not feeling enough internally. So we seek external justification. We seek others' validation. We seek success. We seek tons of sex. We seek tons of approval. We seek a fucking like top 1% physique. We seek to be better than others. All of that usually arises from a feeling of not enough because we've split our psyche. And same with social anxiety, it arises because we inherently don't feel enough as we are, and we need other people's validation, and we need to not be rejected. If we're rejected, all of these parts of ourselves are justified, and we just feel shitty. I also want to add another point to this. So this trauma and these conditioning, the parts of ourselves we disown, this is going to, like once we bring this part up, I'll share with you how in a minute, we will heal, and socially, you become so much more confident and free. I can attest to this, and this is 100% true. You feel, not just socially, in every aspect of your life, that you're just able to just be and exist, and there's no, your value isn't being tested, your worth isn't on the line, and you can just like exist. Man, it's a fucking good feeling. And that socially you can just be and say the stupid shit. And even if people don't like you, even if people reject you, hey, I'm still whole first. I don't need people's validation to feel whole because I'm already whole. I'm going to share with you the number one tactic that I've found to heal this part of ourselves. So, first off, I want you to change your perspective on when you get triggered. When you get triggered, you blame other people, you blame the circumstance, you blame anything that isn't you. I'm going to give you an example of myself, and it's going to be a running example through this little paradigm shift. So I used to have and need other people's validation in order to feel okay. Keep this in mind as the underlying principle behind my behavior. I was on a holiday a few years back, and one of my friends was constantly calling me a attention seeker, a validation, and more or less saying things that basically mean I need other people's validation and that I'm an attention seeker. I really didn't like when he said it. I felt irrational, I felt triggered, I felt emotional. I felt like he's a fucking asshole. I can't believe he would say that. And looking back, it's like, is that justified? Is that the irrational, emotional reaction justified to what he's saying? No, it's not. It's just saying some words and trying to just have a joke. But here I am being super triggered and emotional and irrational. Why is that? Because I had repressed. Remember that? Repressed part of ourselves. I repressed the part of me that needed other people's validation. I could not be seen as someone who needs other people. I was emotionally strong. I was not weak. I didn't need other people. I don't do stuff for other people. I am enough as I am. And I vehemently believe this. But deep down, I needed other people's validation because that rule. I didn't feel okay without other people liking me. And I refused to accept the truth that I needed other people, which is why it triggered me so. Now, this example might feel a bit weird. How does this relate to social anxiety? What? Let me explain. I'll use this as a baseline. Now let's go back to your social anxiety. You feel socially anxious. Now ask why. Ask why. Why am I socially anxious? Why is this anxiety generating? The thoughts you have around anxiety. Oh, I'm scared they're going to reject me. I'm scared of looking stupid. I'm scared of looking weird. Ask why. Ask why. Don't run away from it. Sit with the feeling and ask why. And another point on this, everyone is specific. Everyone has unconscious rules that they are running from. We can generalize that most people are kind of scared of rejection, looking weird, but we have our own specific rules that our nervous system is subconsciously acting from. And we have to find them ourselves. We can't have anyone else do the work for us. We have to ask why in ourselves and figure out the unconscious rules I am acting from. Not anyone else, not what might be acting underneath, but actually look. Take a peek under the iceberg. Look at the subconscious. And do that by asking why. Find out you're triggered, ask why, and you'll get to the bottom of it. At this point, you'll be very emotional and you'll have strong sensations in the body. I want you to close your eyes, focus on the sensations. Without the story, my stomach, it's contracting. Chest, my heart's beating fast. And then you look at the shame, what's going on. Then you feel it, without the story, without trying to change anything, without trying to affect it. Just accept the emotions and the sensations as they are. And then as you do that, the emotional charge associated with that belief, it will slowly dissipate. A few minutes go by, you can bring up that same thought process and it will trigger you less. And now at this point, you can reframe, use logic, and question the belief. For my case, I needed other people's attention. I needed other people's validation. Okay, why do I need other people's validation? Asking why. Because I fundamentally don't feel enough as I am, and I need other people's validation in order to feel whole. That was the underlying rule behind it. Again, that was in my subconscious, acting as an unconscious program. So now, I'm trying to just fucking look at it. Does this make sense? No? Why am I acting what caused it? Is this true in all scenarios? Is my value really based on other people liking me? What is value in the first place? You sort of question and logically arrange the belief to not make sense, to give evidence to the contrary. All of these questions are painting the picture that this belief makes no fucking sense. Why the hell do I believe this? And you'll come off having done three things. You figured out the actual root subconscious belief. You processed the emotion. That was when you sat there and looked at it and felt it and allowed it to be without judging or overthinking. And it's a lot harder than it sounds. And then once you've done that, you question, reframe, and then the belief just holds less strength. All of this combined. Now, the same situation that would have triggered you, the same socially anxious situation that would have triggered you, what happens now? The anxiety doesn't trigger, or it triggers, but nowhere near as strong emotionally. The anxiety is it's just less. Now what happens? Feel less anxious. You want to be more socially. You have more positive thoughts. You act more socially. You get more evidence. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I'm a social person. Maybe I can. you get more evidence. The anxiety is even less now. You take more action. You get more positive thoughts. You get a feedback loop going. Then months of action. The unconscious rule just doesn't trigger at all. And you feel like your social skills are good enough. You don't have any identity or just none of that crap going on anymore. So to summarize, you want to find what triggers you in those social situations. Ask why. Become inquisitive. Process the emotion. Sit with it. Then reframe the emotion. Question it. Look at it and it's like, it's fucking stupid. Why would I believe this? And then do this, and the next time you enter a social situation, it's not going to trigger as hard. And your social anxiety is going to be lessened. You do this process enough times and social anxiety disappears and natural confidence just arises. So yeah, if you feel like you got value, a like and subscription would be much appreciated. And I'd like you to talk about your experiences in the comment section. What'd you think? What's been your experience with social anxiety? I'd love to hear it. So yeah, appreciate you watching. Take care of yourself, mate, and goodbye for now.